Hello and welcome to Your Coaching Journey, a podcast for doctors about coaching. Whether you're a coaching doctor, a doctor who is learning to coach, or a doctor who'd like to build coaching into your professional life, then this is the podcast for you. Hello, my name's Tom Dillon, and with me today is my co-host and business partner, Helen Leathers. Welcome, Helen. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. I've got a lovely cup of coffee with me.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Which is always a good start.
Yeah. Are you not going to ask me how I am?
I am. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Come on, it's the 50th episode. We've got to...
It is, number 50.
It's very exciting.
It is very exciting. And both of us with the personality who like to start new things and have a little bit of shiny object syndrome. We're doing all right, aren't we?
We're being conscientious for people that aren't particularly conscientious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been fun.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It is fun. So it's not a chore to actually record podcasts. So why would we not continue to do it?
Absolutely. I mean, Pete might disagree, but you know.
Pete's the podcast man. If you've not listened to him before, he helps us with our recording. He has to suffer our outtakes. Actually, he doesn't suffer them, he laughs at them. But yeah, good. So today it is our 50th episode. Very special. We've made it to this point. Bit of a milestone. Now, we don't normally talk about what we do specifically in terms of our training. We mention it occasionally on the podcast, but we don't use the podcast to promote our training. But we thought it might be useful for our 50th episode to actually tell people about our training and how they might get involved if they wish to do some coaching training. So that's what we're going to cover today. So, where should we start?
Well, where did it start, Tom?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a nice segue, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? Anyone thought I'd have planned that?
So, the Transformational Coaching Diploma, as it exists today, started off as just a coaching diploma within the NHS for Coventry and Warwickshire NHS Trust in Walsgrave Hospital, and really came about as a result of a forward-thinking learning and development professional who wanted to put in place some coaching for doctors and nurses and wanted to get away from the managerial approach that they had been using. So they'd been using a certain provider that takes a very managerial approach and wanted it to be more effective in terms of people coming out of the course feeling confident and competent to coach. So that was the brief I was given. That was the task, to generate a course, to produce a course that would allow people to, at the end of it, feel like they could go and they could hold a coaching conversation with other members of staff and offer that support to staff in a coaching environment. So that was the origin.
The beginning of it. And crucially, I think, timing-wise, you started your first training cohort with them around the end of 2019.
Yeah, so just prior to COVID. So obviously it all got put on hold. But actually, it being put on hold was the reason we do what we do now. Because obviously with COVID, I suddenly had to rethink everything, and everything had stopped. The whole world had stopped for me. All my work had stopped. So I began to reimagine things being online. So I redesigned the program, found a platform that I could use to put everything online. And that program restarted online. So that original program went online. And that was quite tricky because there were 24 delegates, 24 students of that program suddenly online. A couple had fallen off because of COVID. But yeah, that was a tricky, and it made me realise that having that number of people on a training program online, they weren't getting the best out of it. So it worked, we got through the program, but I wasn't happy with that, having that number of people. Didn't feel like they benefited particularly from that. So then as I started to offer it out to the world more generally, I drastically reduced the numbers. So we now have a maximum of 9. Sometimes, if 2 people book at the same time, we end up with 10 people. But our optimal number is 9 people on the course. And I think that is something special about what we do.
It works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah. For any other training providers out there who are thinking of doing this sort of work, it's a really good number to have. You don't make as much money, but we're fine with that. We want it to be the best experience it can be. And actually 9 is perfect. There's something about, I obviously have done quite a bit of leadership and teamwork in the past, and there's something about that 6 to 9 people is supposed to be the perfect number for a team.
And people do bond really beautifully through the course.
That is one special thing about it. And, for the listeners who have been through our course, you will know that actually the friendships that you form on the course are part and parcel of it. That's one of the special things about our course, is the bonding that goes on.
Absolutely. So we've got the online workshops that are delivered through Zoom.
Yes. So that's obviously taking everything online. I had to sort of recreate the program, but it was always what we now know is called a flipped classroom approach.
Yes.
We only found that out this week, didn't we?
We did.
Helen's doing a master's in positive psychology and has been told that her training on that is a flipped classroom approach. So we have an online module that people learn from. So the theoretical material is online. There you go. And they study that. And then they come to the classroom and we talk about the online material and put it into practice. So I always called it a blended learning approach because we've got that mix of theory and practice. And it is still a blended learning approach, but we now have this extra label of a flipped classroom.
Yes. And it works really well because people can come into that space and ask questions about what they've already read, watched and experimented with. And then I think that really helps to embed the learning more deeply.
And what's really interesting about that is when I did my original coaching training, it was sort of a similar approach in that the trainer would say, okay, go away and read this chapter of the book. And he might have photocopied the book and given us the chapter to go and read. But no one ever did it. They'd come back a month later and, oh yeah, I didn't read that. Or they just read it that morning. But there's something about us having the online material available and people have to work through it, that they do just engage. And they come ready to talk about the material, explore the theoretical side, and then, as I say, put it into practice.
So the course is about 6 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
Roughly.
So 6 months, 11 morning workshops. We've tried evenings. We're fairly convinced that mornings is the best way to be.
Yes.
Again, looking at the optimal. We're always looking for the optimal. We think mornings is the best space for people. They come ready to engage and it works really well for us. I think we're more ready to engage in the mornings as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so 11 workshops, 11 online modules, and 6 months.
And we, when we put the dates together, we do appreciate that people have busy lives. We try and spread those live workshops out so they're fortnightly, roughly, but we also do try to work around school holidays.
Yeah.
We appreciate a lot of our delegates have family, perhaps go away for half terms and things like that. So those dates are pretty flexible. It's not every fortnight regardless. We do appreciate that.
And obviously, because it is doctors, we only invite doctors to the course. So with doctors, we know that they perhaps have a set day that they are in work. So they have perhaps a clinic or they're doing a set day at their GP surgery. So we know that if we just ran Friday morning courses, that wouldn't work for some people. So we rotate the days. So we have a Friday morning course and then the next one will be a Tuesday morning course and then we'll have a Wednesday. So we try to make it available over the course of a year. We try to make it available to as many people as we can.
We even occasionally do Saturday mornings.
We do Saturday mornings, which is always a little bit of a mixed blessing, isn't it?
Yes.
I do quite like to be with people on a Saturday morning, but I do actually really like my Saturday mornings to myself too.
Yes, so we probably only run that once a year on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So if you're on a Saturday morning course,
it's special.
You're special to us. So you mentioned that we only invite doctors now, which is true now. But when you first launched the programme, it was available to everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah, so obviously coming out of the NHS and in the middle of COVID, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I just made it available as a coaching diploma. And we had on the first cohort 2 doctors arrive, Caroline Walker from The Joyful Doctor and Sarah Golding, who heads up coaching at the Joyful Doctor as well, and they just took to the content in a way that perhaps the other delegates didn't. So there was that connection, certainly to the psychological models that we introduce on the programme. So I explored with them whether there was the appetite amongst GPs and other doctors for coaching, because my world was quite small. I was dealing with a local hospital and delivering a local programme. So trying to get a handle on whether the world was ready for an open course that just doctors would come to. I wasn't sure there was appetite. But we tried it and it worked, and it's been working for 3 years now. Over 3 years. So we're on cohort 35, I think.
Yeah, at the moment.
Over 200 doctors have gone through the programme. Say very small numbers we work with. We don't want to do big programmes because we want people to really engage with the learning and get to know each other well. So yeah, it's been hugely successful in our small way.
Yeah.
We're not looking to conquer the world, but we really love the programme that we deliver. We love delivering it, and we want to maintain that. It's sustainable for us in the way that it works now. So long may it continue.
And whilst we have the open courses that are for our doctors, we also from time to time deliver into NHS trusts specifically for people within that trust.
Yep.
So
we've
if
had
you're
one down on the south coast that we've been running just recently. We've got another one on the east coast that we're thinking, we're in conversations about setting one up there. So that's a different way to go. But we're delivering the same course, but just to people from the same organisation.
And it's been lovely, actually, because we've seen people who have worked in the same hospital for years and never met, suddenly forming friendships and supporting each other. And it's been really special, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So the way we work now is that we both deliver and facilitate the courses. You started doing the full delivery, and now we alternate the workshops.
Share it now, which has been really useful. I think it was difficult for me to let go a little bit in the beginning and just say, yes, you can do that bit, that's fine. But actually it works really well. And I think the students on the course get the benefit of both of our styles. And, we're both then available to answer any queries and support them as best we can. So, that's working really well.
So we've spoken about how the programme is delivered. Perhaps we should touch on how the course is assessed as a qualification.
Yes, so the course is accredited by the Association for Coaching. So for those who aren't familiar with the politics of coaching, there are potentially 4 main bodies that are interested in coaching around the world. So we are accredited by the Association for Coaching. So that's one of them. They're an international coaching organisation. The ICF is another one, International Coaching Federation. That's an American organisation, but again, international. The EMCC, European Mentoring and Coaching Council. So they obviously are geographical, it's Europe. And then the ILM, which is the institute, it's a qualification body that stems from the Institute of Leadership and Management, but it does qualifications, management and leadership qualifications. So coaching is a small part of their offering. So they're not really a coaching body. They offer a coaching qualification.
Yeah.
Yes. So so we're accredited by the Association for Coaching. Our training is accredited. So anyone leaving the course who has passed the assessments will have recognised an accredited qualification.
Absolutely, and that's recognised by the NHS, that's recognised by insurance companies, so you can go and use that qualification in any way that you would like. So you mentioned assessment there and passing the qualification.
Yes, and it's a course for practitioners. We're not totally hung up on you remembering theory, so we're not testing you on the theory. We're testing you on your ability to coach. So we'll always watch a recording of you coaching at the end of the course and assess you based on that recording in terms of your ability to coach. And then we invite you to write an essay, a written assignment of a couple of thousand words, which is just your view on coaching and where you're landing with it, having been through the programme. So your reflections on the programme and where it's leaving you as a coach. So those are the two requirements. But it's, yeah, some people get a little bit twitchy about writing an essay, which is strange, isn't it? But yeah, it's always fine. It's just your thinking about coaching.
Yeah. And it's not an academic essay with referencing and things like that.
There's no citations and...
Yeah. One other thing that we do ask is that learning time is logged, and also that your coaching time is logged. So there's a requirement for 20 hours of practice coaching, much of which is facilitated throughout the course anyway.
Yes, and we want people to leave feeling confident and competent. And what we know is that you only get good at coaching by coaching.
Yes.
All the theoretical side is great to have. It's great to have that background knowledge and awareness, but it's not going to help you coach. And I think that's when I talked about being invited to design a programme within the NHS, I think it was trying to move away from that, writing about coaching, doing 3 or 4 different essays about how coaching works within an organisation, getting away from that and just focusing on learning how to coach.
So throughout the coaching diploma programme, we pull on different psychological theories that inform coaching approaches.
Yeah, and I quite often say to people on the introductory workshop, this is our philosophy of coaching. And it sounds a bit grand to have a philosophy of coaching, but we do recognise that if we're working with people, so the coachee that comes into our coaching room, we're really interested in their thinking and generating new thinking on their part. So it's all about psychology. So you can't coach without really having an understanding of psychology. So everything that we do draws on psychological models. So having some cognitive empathy of understanding why the person in front of you thinks and feels the way they do. And I think if we can then offer them different psychological models that will help them to think about things in a different way, generate new thoughts, then I think we're going to do really good work in the coaching room.
Even just understanding why they might be reacting to certain things in a certain way, that's enlightening, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's all psychology.
Yes.
So I think, again, what we've consciously done is moved away from the managerial approach to coaching and focused heavily on the psychology of coaching and what is useful to bring to the coaching room in terms of different psychological approaches.
So we've talked a bit about the history of the course and what's included, how it's assessed, and we mentioned that there's lovely bonds that are happening between our delegates, and we do like to get them together once a year for our doctors' conference. So they actually meet in person as well. I think for me, what I love to see is the transformations that happen to people along the way as they start to think about themselves. So they're being coached by their peers, they're coaching their peers, and things change for them, don't they? They make changes in their lives and in their thinking.
Yeah, it is lovely. And we obviously, people, when they come to the end of the course, we'll send them their coaching diploma and they'll always email back and say, thank you very much, and thank you for everything. And quite often, the majority of the time, I would say the email includes a statement saying, this has really changed my life.
Yes.
There is something transformational about the coaching, going through the course itself. I think it just gives people the time and space to think about life in a way that they don't normally. And quite often, the doctors that come are busy people. And they come to the course thinking, how am I going to fit this in? But actually, it allows them to think about the way they are living their life and the way they organise their work and everything else, and gives them that space to really reflect on how they want things to be.
Absolutely. And I do remember that someone said to us, I was looking for a coach. I wanted coaching. So I thought, why not do this course? I get coaching and I get a qualification. Yeah. Genius.
Yeah. Yeah, and because part and parcel of the course is practicing coaching, so you are practicing on each other. And because we only have small numbers, we're able to rotate people so they work with everyone on the course. So we don't buddy people up, we get them to work with all the participants. So I think that works really well, both in terms of the bonding of those on the course, but also in terms of giving people that space to think about life and what's going on for them. And it's funny, isn't it? We don't do role play on our course. There's no role play involved.
No.
But we do get them to coach each other. So there's genuine coaching conversations. And sometimes that starts off as quite sort of mundane. People are a bit tentative initially to bring big things to coaching. But pretty soon as they begin to trust each other, then they start to talk about real life and what's going on for them. And they get some real breakthrough moments.
And it is absolutely lovely to see that journey.
Yeah, we love our doctors.
We do. So I think on our resources on this podcast episode, if we link through to our testimonials page, that would be really lovely. If you are interested, if this has piqued your interest and you want to find out what people are saying about the course, then we'll link to our testimonials, and all the information is on the website. And if you would like to find out more, have any burning questions, you can get in touch and even book a call to have a chat and find out how you could be involved with this programme.
Yes. And if you'd like to understand more about transformational coaching and why it might differ from other coaching approaches you've heard about, if you listen to episode 47, that will give you a really good insight of the material that we cover, the way that we integrate other coaching approaches into a transformational coaching approach on our programme. So have a listen to 47. You'll get a taste, a flavour of what we do and why it is transformational, the way that we teach people. And once you've had a listen, if you'd like to join us on our course, feel free to go to the website and have a look at the Transformational Coaching Diploma. All the details are there and you can book your space. And we'd love to see you. So thank you, Alan. I think that's been a lovely way to bring about episode 50.
Yes.
And to just give people a flavour of what we do in our real lives, away from podcasting. And we love our podcasting, but we do really enjoy teaching people how to coach and get real buzz from doing that.
Who knows what we'll do for our 100th episode?
Yeah, the mind boggles.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tom.
You're very welcome. So next time on the podcast, we will be looking at another challenge to coaching, and we're going to be exploring the Kubler-Ross change curve.
Or is it?
It isn't actually, no.
No.
But we're going to be exploring another myth-busting episode. So we look forward to that.
Love
and
it.
we will see you next time.
See you
Bye-bye.
next time. Bye.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.